What's up, everybody? Celtic Scarecrow here, back with another video to get those 10s and 20 views. Like I said, the Mariners jersey hoodie will stay on until they're eliminated. It does have to come off for Tuesday's video because it is a hockey-related video. Therefore, I'll be wearing the Penguins hoodie instead, just for one day. Then we go back to the Mariners until they're eliminated. But like I said, the Penguins lost. The Panthers lost.
Smell like failure.
Got smoked, and PJ Walker went in at the end. Fire Matt Rule. And because of that, we are going to be reacting to a Mr. Nightmare. But I've decided to show you. That's not the page I want to be on. Boom. Here we have the channel I found him on. I'm going to play a few quick clips of him.
What's good, TMG fam? It's your boy L, and I'm back with another reaction, man. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. Listen, man.
Like I said, the Matthews family is where I actually found Mr. Nightmare from. I will definitely put a link to his channel. But we have 3 true horror stories. I've seen a lot of reactions, so hopefully, Mr. Nightmare, you do not copyright claim me. You can copyright claim it. Oh, hold on, we are no longer straight. Fix the hair. There we go. You can copyright claim the video. I can that. Don't copyright strike my channel. Let's get to the video. 3 true Halloween stories. Also, I'm doing this Sunday night at right before Sunday night because I have Tuesday's video. I think is gonna be quite a long one. Like the things I am doing for the hockey. If I rolled over hockey, are things like few rules, location of teams, jerseys and team colors, and a realignment. So I think that one's going to take me kind of a bit long to edit in the teams into divisions. So that's why I'm doing this now, because I have to work tomorrow because I am nowhere near enough subscribers to make it a living off this. So because of that, do the thing.
Bolin, do the thing.
What thing?
The thing! I never had to tell Julie what thing.
I'm not Julie, okay? Pretend I don't know anything about anything that's happening here.
Like if you like this video. Subscribe if you seem like me. Share the video. Help. It's pissed me off that tangles. Help grow the channel. So I could potentially be like Mr. Tom DeGrassi, where I am making a living off of the interweb and can just make these cool, fun videos. Maybe do some sketches. Maybe meet other interweb personalities. And maybe, just maybe, I'll actually get the Rumble. Not Rumble. I do have Rumble.
Rumble!
You don't trust YouTube? Go there. Twitch back up. Here we go. Enough of that talk. Bang.
Halloween used to be one of my favorite holidays. Now I kind of just enjoy it when I have a decent party to go to.
I just like it because it's that time of year where you actually get to scare people. But because of that, the weirdos do come out, so you gotta be a little cautious.
In 2018, when I was a senior in college, my friend Tracy's sorority was going to be throwing a big Halloween party at the sorority house. She said I could bring one friend since they didn't want too many outsiders at the party.
It's kind of a smart, throwing a party, know who's at your party.
So I invited my best friend Cody. We're very last minute people when it comes to Halloween costumes. The party was that
Doesn't matter. He pulls them good together quick.
night and we didn't have anything. Cody was working late, so he'd have to meet me right before the party. So he asked me to get a costume for him, and he'd just Venmo me the money. I ran to the nearby Spirit Halloween store that opened up like 5 minutes from my house.
Yeah, because they opened up everywhere. Oop, hit me back.
Superman costume for Cody. Both two of the cheaper costumes they had. Everything was normal until I got to the cashier. I was on the phone with Cody, telling him about the costume I got him and giving him details about the party. I told him which sorority it was, that Tracy got us the invite, gave
Oh, there it is. All the information. This is why you do not have open conversations over the phone. Anybody could be listening in.
him the address, and then he convinced me to pick him up instead of us just meeting, stuff like that. All of this was
Text that kind of information.
said as the cashier was watching me. He was some guy who was decently older than me, but because of his receding hairline, I couldn't put a gauge on it as to whether he was in his 30s or low 40s. He wore glasses, though, and had a skinnyish build and an awkward presence. As he rang up the two costumes, he had a comment something along the lines of, "Sounds like you have a fun party tonight, huh?" I
See? That's why you text all information.
chuckled and said yeah. Then he started asking more details, like if it's open invite, and had a comment about there being lots of girls. I said it's closed invite and that I barely got an invite. He said it's all good. Then he shook my hand and introduced himself as Mike. So I
Yeah, I would have been on notice. I probably would actually have done the slight Karen thing and found somebody else at the store and be like, hey, this guy's kind of creeping me out, just as a heads up.
did the same and told him my name was Sean.
Like, do people watch horror movies?
And I left. It was weird. Fast forward to later that night. I picked up Cody and we arrived to the party around 10 p.m. It sounded loud inside, and there were multiple groups of people entering the house before us. At the door, a girl asked us who we knew there, and I told her Tracy. She let us in, and we were in this huge living room area. Music blasting, all
See, I would have been that person. If I was like invite only, I would have had the clipboard. Tracy, yeah, you're bringing in Sean, and he's bringing who? Cody. Gotcha. That way you gotta go. All right, cool. Cross that person off the list.
the lights dimmed low, Halloween decorations everywhere, and to top it off, people with red cups full of booze crowding the place. We saw Tracy and hung around her for a while. We played beer pong and other drinking games. It was a very legit party. But then, at some point, there was a commotion by the front door area. Cody, Tracy, and I and a few others walked over, and the girl at the door started calling out, "Where's Tracy?" She came forward, and the girl asked, "Who is Sean?" I said, "I am." Then she asked me who that creepy guy we invited was. I was confused and said, "Who?" She described some older-looking man in a cowboy costume with a fake mustache. He apparently inappropriately touched one of the girls, trying to get her into a separate room, and she screamed for help. Then he took off with something in his pocket. None of the guys chased after him or anything.
Cowards.
Immediately, I thought of the cashier from Spirit Halloween. I told them about it, and everyone got even more creeped out. The party went on, but they were a lot more cautious about who they were letting in, and
I would have been cautious from the jump.
they even considered calling the cops for a second. That whole thing really killed my vibe, and we didn't stay much longer after that. In total, we were probably at the party for a couple hours at most. We left a little past midnight, I think. I didn't drink much.
You don't have to go drink at a party. Like, I don't drink, and I can have fun at a party.
As I started my car, the car parked like 2 cars behind us also turned on, and as I drove in the direction of Cody's house, the car started to follow.
Make irregular turns. They keep turning left.
Cody and I were sure it had to be him after it made 4 of the same turns.
Ah, there we go. Now you're getting smarter, kid.
So I pulled to the side of the road, egging him on to pull over, but the car just stopped for a few seconds, then basically floored it past us. We didn't get a good look at who was inside, but I'm still positive it was him. After dropping off Cody down the block from his house, just being cautious,
Smart.
I was staying very aware of my surroundings, and because of that, I noticed a car in the near distance with its lights off, tailing me. It looked like the same car.
Call the cops.
Got to a main road, once again pulled over and waited. The car once again waited, and then a few seconds later turned on its lights and floored it in the far left lane, passing me. I was obviously shook and drove home as fast as I could while I was sure I wasn't being followed. I called that Spirit Halloween location the next day and reported the cashier. They thanked me for the information, but I never went back there, so I wouldn't know if he was fired or anything. Looking back, I wonder if I could have and should have pressed charges. Regardless, I have no idea what he could have possibly wanted from me. But either way, I'm happy he didn't find out where I live.
We had an ad. Thought there were ads. Yeah, that's the one. Smart decision in the back half. Two, the people doing the party should definitely have been a little more cautious, unless it was like someone at the sorority who said they got the invite from. I would not have let them in, but like I said, back half the story, he made a lot of smart decisions. Could have called the cops. If I noticed a car just tailing me, I would have called the cops. Now, protecting service is their job, and it's Halloween, so they're probably used to weirdos. With phone calls saying, hey, I got a random car tailing me without their lights on. I'm on X Street, and I'll continue on the street. Can you get somebody here? But story 2! Also, story 1, proof why you should planning anything, do it text-wise. Unless it's something illegal. But like a party like that where everything's cool, just text. You don't know who's listening in.
Halloween of 2019 was the most terrifying night of my life. I live in Australia, and because we don't celebrate
Come from the land down under. Sorry, I can't help myself.
Halloween as enthusiastically, we don't
Well, yeah, it's an Irish holiday that kind of got a giant jumpstart in America by Irish settlers. So Australia, being more British criminal in origins, and the natives there being the native of Australia. Yeah, I don't think Halloween would be that big in that half, besides maybe a little bit trick-or-treating in like the major cities.
get as many trick-or-treaters, around 5 or 6 people at most. I am personally a huge fan of Halloween, though, to the dismay of my parents who would prefer not to acknowledge it. Obviously, that leaves me in charge of putting up decorations and handing out candy. This particular year, Halloween fell on a school night, and a storm began just after 6 o'clock.
Oh, that is a double whammy. Like, yeah, this year Halloween's on Monday. I'll actually be in Massachusetts for it, but that's a double whammy.
Which unfortunately meant my efforts preparing the decorations had pretty much gone to waste.
Okay, this time I'm not normally going to criticize your work. That clearly looks like snow and not like a rain. Nitpicking, but love your work though. Like I said, if you want to copyright the background noise, zero issues. You did put the effort into finding and reading these stories. Don't copyright strike me.
Ignoring my better judgment, I still waited for trick-or-treaters in the living room and watched The Conjuring to pass the time.
Not a bad choice.
Around an hour and a half later, I got a message from my friend M on our group chat, asking if anyone would like to mess around and go trick-or-treating. At first I was confused. We hadn't gone trick-or-treating in over 5 years.
Never too old as long as you have a great costume or a great mask. Or you have small people.
But I decided it would make the night more enjoyable, as nobody was knocking on the door anyway.
So make sure you turn off your light. Don't be that house.
My other friends, who I'll call S, C, and H, all agreed and asked M where we should meet up. M quickly replied he couldn't make it, which was strange because he was the one who offered to go trick-or-treating, but he suggested a house which has lots of candy. Me?
Oh, I can foresee the future. I think I saw this, but at the same time I don't remember it all. And his phone was stolen. Plain and simple. And his phone is stolen.
S, C, and H all arrived at the house within half an hour.
Ooh, no. If the person planning bails, everybody bails.
A large table with a pumpkin bowl filled with lollipops stood at the front porch.
Do not trust the lollipops.
And after checking the windows to make sure we weren't being watched, we emptied the bowl between us, only leaving a few to avoid suspicion.
Avoid suspicion, but you know.
As we turned around to leave, we were greeted by 2 men dressed as clowns approaching us up the driveway. They had huge painted smiles and tilted heads. I could tell we were all creeped out. And one of my...
It's Halloween, so you're good, but be cautious.
My friends screamed as they started bolting towards us, one squeaking its rubber nose as they chased. After running for what felt like an eternity, we finally lost them. We decided to go to M's house so
Bad call.
we could discuss what just happened in a safe area. However, when M answered the door, he burst into laughter. "What the hell are you guys doing?" he said, confused. "You told us to go trick-or-treating. Can you just let us inside?" S replied. After sitting down on M's couch, we all soon realized M had lost his phone earlier that
Called it!
day, and a stranger had suggested the idea of going to that house, presumably some sort of trap from the clowns.
Yeah, I can't justify it.
After another half hour, it cautiously made it home by 9:30.
Oh, no. I either would have requested to be picked up or I was spending the night. No.
Finished my movie and went outside to collect the candy bowl I set up. I was shocked to see the bowl was completely empty. However, my stomach turned when I saw a clown nose was now laying inside of it. I told my parents everything that happened and showed them the clown nose that had been left at our house. They assured me it was just some Halloween prank. I woke up around 1 a.m. to noises coming from my bedroom window.
Parents, I know it's Halloween, but do take cautions, you know. Just be like, yeah, it's probably a prank, but we will definitely double check every door and window.
Like rocks hitting the glass. Although I was scared half to death, my curiosity got the better of me.
Of course it does.
I eventually opened the blinds. My Halloween decorations were destroyed and littered the ground below. I stared motionless in complete shock until a lollipop was thrown at the window, breaking my trance. I looked up and saw them, the two clowns perched upon the neighbor's roof, looking down at me. I screamed and ran away towards my parents' room. I'll skip the details that followed, but the police were called and the clowns were not found.
Yeah, of course they weren't found. They got off that roof. How they get on the roof to begin with? And two, yeah, they're long gone.
The officers informed us they would check out the house my friends and I trick-or-treated at, and they left in about half an hour. The following morning, we were told the house was abandoned, and M's phone was discovered inside. That day at school, I learned M, S, C, and H all had creepy experiences during the night as well. I'm not sure if the clowns followed us home or they somehow tracked us through M's phone.
Probably through the phone.
All I know is that Halloween is only a few weeks away, and I am completely terrified they'll return.
Yeah, if the person who suggests a idea says, hey, let's trick-or-treat and here's a great location. Like, all right, cool. Oh, I can't make it. You're being played. Also, Australia has no more guns, so you can't even have that option to defend yourself with anymore. So, get a knife. The only suggestion I got, paintball gun filled with marbles, maybe? Good luck. Granted, this was from 2000, so I have no idea if anything came of it. Oh, that was 2 years ago. Then again, it was 2019, so 2020 should have been a lockdown. Should have been safe thanks to the lockdown.
It was a stormy Halloween night. I was with my three friends John, Mary, and Keenan. Since we didn't have any real plans and were kind of just hanging around, I decided to grab the Ouija board from my closet. All my friends were down to try it. I wanted to be funny, but also set the mood, so I got 3 candles, try it.
Hold on. Oh, yeah. There is a person.
I decided to grab the Ouija board from my closet. All my friends were down to try it.
Yeah, see, there was a person right here, right next to this thing.
I wanted to be funny, but also set the mood, so I got 3 candles, lit them, and turned off all the lights.
If you're going to do it right.
The 4 of us sat at the table with our hands on the planchette. We started off by saying, "Is anyone there?"
Probably girls. Girls tend to use the Ouija board more often.
Of course, the planchette started to move, and we all started to laugh. It went from Y to E to S, spelling yes.
Normally, most Ouija boards like the one on screen where they just would have gone up to yes.
John and I began asking the really stupid, goofy questions, like, will you
No, guys, maybe not girls.
haunt Mary? And she kept begging us to stop. But as the planchette moved to once again spell out the word yes, we all erupted into laughter. To be honest, I didn't even contribute to moving the piece around the board. I just assumed John and Keenan were messing around for the most part. Then, without anyone asking a question, the planchette started moving to spell the words, I'm inside the house. More laughs, until there was a huge, very obvious thump sound from directly upstairs, like right over our heads. It most closely resembled a boot stomping on the floor. All of us jumped. Mary started screaming and freaking out. John, Keenan, and I didn't know whether to laugh or be freaked out. My parents weren't home. No one was except for me. We don't have any pets. Suddenly, the doorbell rang.
Three guys.
Looked at
Stick
each other.
together. Stick together. Don't separate. Do not go full Scooby-Doo. That's not a good idea.
Then I went to look through the peephole. I opened the door. It was a dad and his young son trick-or-treating under an umbrella. I opened the
That is a good father.
door and handed the kid some candies. But once I shut the door, it was back to the current reality of the situation, which was figuring out what the hell that sound was. I convinced all three of them to come upstairs with me just to check.
See, group efforts.
We all got to the upstairs hallway. All that was on was a nightlight plugged into the floor outlet. We were halfway through the hallway, approaching my parents' bedroom, which was the room directly above the table we were sitting at, where we heard the noise. That's when we all heard the same thing. It was this voice of a girl. What was said, none of us could hear it, but all four of us agreed we heard the voice of a girl in my parents' room, followed by the sound of something being dropped on the floor. Mary and Keenan ran down the stairs, freaked out, but not making
Cowards.
a peep. John and I, however, approached the door. I opened it quietly and pushed it open slowly. I looked into the dark room, and I saw something tall standing in the far corner of the room. I slammed the door shut, and we ran down the stairs. We stayed in the living room and flicked on the lights, and then noticed one of the candles by the Ouija board was blown out. I called the cops, and a
Yeah, there we go.
few minutes later, when an officer arrived, I asked him to check my parents' bedroom. I led him up the stairs and pointed at the door. He knocked on it and announced police. Knocked on the stairs and pointed at the door. He knocked on it and announced police.
You're in the house already, officer. I don't think you need to announce yourself. I would just turn on the light and entered.
Then opened the door quickly and flicked on the light. He checked the closet, under the bed, nothing. That's when we followed and entered the room as well, and I can confirm no one was in there. While we were at it, we checked every single bedroom and bathroom up there. There was not a single possible place anybody could be hiding.
Hopefully you don't have an attic.
After the police officer left, we threw the Ouija board in the neighbor's garbage, and we all sat under the awning in my
Why the neighbor's garbage?
backyard, listening to the storm in silence until my parents returned. After telling the story to my parents together, eventually my friends left. My parents seemed to believe us, but what could they really do? I didn't sleep too well that night, and obviously I have no plans of using a Ouija board ever again.
Yeah. That if there was a person in that house, they bailed the split second you closed that door. Could have been something. Who knows? But at least this kid kind of did the smart thing to an extent of calling the cops, sticking together and calling the cops. That's it. That's all I have. I'll see you weird people later.